Good morning, this is Sage live from 𝐊𝐶 Studios and you're watching a show where we share with you a glimpse of the Australian share market opening trading scenario along with the global and domestic drivers triggering the market momentum. And in our first segment of the show today, we'll look at how the early morning trades panned out, taking cues from the Wall Street action overnight. Then in the last segment, we'll look at the prominent newsmakers grabbing the headlines during the early trading hours, as well as the movement seen in the cryptocurrency, crude oil, gold and metals indices. The Australian share market opened in the green on Thursday, taking positive cues from Wall Street, and the top performing stocks in the ASX 200 today are GrainCorp and QBE Insurance Group in the early trade. And on the other hand, the Dow Jones climbed 0.6% to a record high and the S&P 500 rose 0.25%. The Nasdaq edged 0.15% lower, however. And the US shares rose after data revealed that consumer prices slowed in July. So the consumer price rise slowed in July, easing concerns that Federal Reserves will soon taper the bond purchases. And according to experts, the US non-farm payrolls figures due in September could also impact tapering decisions if they are particularly strong. And meanwhile, the coronavirus Delta variant is fast spreading in many Asian countries, raising fears about the local restrictions on travel and other economic activities. And moving on to the next segment of the show, let us quickly look at the highlights of the prominent ASX stocks under the spotlight during the early trades. The first one on the list today is Commonwealth Bank of Australia, which has put out a robust performance for the financial year 2021. The bank reported a net profit of 2.6 billion Australian dollars and 10 billion Australian dollars capital return to the shareholders, making it the best performing bank among the big four. And also making the news, Downer Group's total revenue for the financial year 2021 fell 8.8% to 12.2 billion Australian dollars, but the net profit has rebounded to 230 million Australian dollars compared to a loss of 105.8 billion Australian dollars. The group also declared a final dividend of 12 cents per share, 2 cents down from the last few years' payout. And also grabbing the investors' attention, GrainCorp has upgraded its guidance for financial year 2021 on the backdrop of increased demand for the Australian grain. The management now expects financial year 2021 earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortisation to be between 310 to 330 million Australian dollars, a huge jump over the previous expectations of 255 to 285 million Australian dollars. And meanwhile, Goodman Group's financial year 2021 results have been a great one. The operating profit has climbed 15%, up to 1.22 billion Australian dollars, while operating earnings per security jumped 14.1% to 65.6 cents. And the total assets under management had also gone up by 12%, reaching 57.9 billion Australian dollars. And on that note, let's take a short break now, but please stay tuned on 𝐊𝐶 TV.
Tune in to get the latest information.
Whether it's about market movements or the currency graph,
Sectoral coverage or industry news.
we cover it all on our news segments.
Be on top of the latest news
With 𝐊𝐶 TV.
Welcome back and thank you for joining us. This is Sage, your host, live from the 𝐊𝐶 Studios in Sydney, and you're watching the early trades, where we share with you a glimpse of the Australian share market's opening trade scenario. And the next big news coming in today, Mirvac Group has exceeded its earnings guidance for financial year 2021, with statutory profit climbing 61% to 901 million Australian dollars. The group's residential guidance of more than 2,200 lots had also been comfortably surpassed, as 2,526 residential lots were settled during financial year 2021. And moving on now to the last segment of the show, we'll look at some of the latest updates from the bond market, currency space and the futures and commodities. So looking at the bond yields, the US bond yields fell after a slight moderation in the US consumer prices in July, and the benchmark 10-year notes yield fell to 1.3287%, down from 1.342% late on Tuesday. In the currency space, the US dollar also fell following the release of the consumer price report. The easing in consumer prices has taken some pressure off the Federal Reserve with respect to the taper timing, and the dollar index was down 0.124%. Let's move on now. And crude oil prices advanced on Wednesday after the US said that it would not call the domestic producers to boost the crude output. And the US crude oil futures closed up 1.41%. The Brent crude futures settled up 1.15%. Energy stocks such as Woodside Petroleum could be trading in the green during the early trade, and Santos too opened in the green on Thursday. Looking now at the futures and commodities space, and the gold prices also rose following a slower increase in the US consumer prices in July, which cooled concerns that Fed would taper its economic support sooner than expected, and the US gold futures ended up 1.2%. Spot gold added 1.4%, and the US gold futures rose 1.26%. The ASX listed gold stocks such as Northern Star Resources could be trading in the green during the early trade, and Newcrest Mining too opened in the green on Thursday. Now taking a look at the metals space, Dalian iron ore surged about 4% on Wednesday after China's output curbs triggered concerns about the supply, and the most traded iron ore for January 2022 delivery on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange ended up 3.7%. Next is the 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange, which saw a dip of 0.1%. And thank you for your company on that report. That's all for now for the early morning trades, and stay tuned to 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 TV as we have many more shows lined up for you for sharing live updates across the economy, markets and sectors. Sage signing off.